Hey folks, today we're going to be sewing a fleece cover. We've printed the Katrina's fleece soaker pattern. I've cut it out in large, and I don't want to do the little soaker section down the middle. There's a piece of the pattern where you create this. This is obviously two pieces, but down the middle of the diaper there's this reinforced section, and in the soaker zone I'm not going to do that part. What I'm going to do instead is I'm actually going to double up the whole pattern. So I'm actually going to cut two pieces out of the body and go ahead and just double the thickness of the fleece for the whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold this in half. This is 2 layers of fabric, and I want to stay as close to the edge of the fabric as I can. So I'm just going to fold this in half so that it is only wide enough to fit my pattern. Perfect. And I'm going to put it as close to the edge of the fabric as I can, and I'm going to cut around this. So give me just a few minutes and we'll cut around this. There are many different ways to cut around a pattern. Sometimes I take the lazy route and I just kind of weigh it down and cut around it, but this is pretty thick fabric, so what I'm going to do instead is grab some chalk and I'm going to mark around the pattern. Hoping this shows up on fleece. Meh, it shows up well enough, I suppose. Fleece is a very forgiving fabric. It's stretchy, it's fluffy. There's really no reason to worry too much about getting it perfectly accurate. If you're close, it's gonna be perfect. Alright, so I've drawn around it. Let's go ahead and cut on that line. Like I said, I've folded it in half, so I'm actually cutting right now through 4 layers because it's 2 layers thick and then folded in half. That makes sense? The reason you want to cut both layers at the same time is so that you know that they're going to be exactly the same shape. Very easy pattern to cut around, so this one shouldn't take very long. So let's open that up. And what I have here, I have 2 pieces that are kind of wrong sides together. They're opposite each other, and I am okay with that. I'm actually going to leave it just like that. If you had it right sides together, you may want to turn one of them around so that you end up with the right side on the outside of your diaper. So that's the body of this diaper. I'm going to grab the other color. What do you think about putting orange? So green and orange. I also have a bluish, greenish color. Oh, let's do that one. We'll do the orange next time. Alright, so I'm going to take this, set it aside. Now I'm not going to double up this. These are going to be the legs and the waistband, and I feel like 1 layer is enough there. It's just to hold the diaper on. So let's get to the corner of our fabric here, and we're going to, it says to cut 2. These are leg cuffs, and this dotted line is a fold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of, hope you're still in the frame here, and it's not, so we'll scoot it. Cut off the selvage edge real quick. Cut it back a little ways because I don't need it right now. Do a fold. So here's one. And let's cut a second one. So now we have 2 of the leg cuffs. And let's grab the waistband. I have it also cut out for the large size. And you'll just do the same thing, except I'm going to probably keep going up this edge here instead. Don't want to use very much of this fabric if I can help it. I like to save all of my fabric. I always stay to the very edge of everything if I can. Has anybody seen that chalk? Did I fold it up in the pattern? Sure I did. This one's wider, so I'm not gonna wing it like I did with the little ones. So there are 2 leg cuffs, but there is only 1 waistband, so this is only one I need of the waistband. And there you have it. A waistband and 2 leg cuffs. We are done cutting fabric. Set our fabric aside. Set our pattern aside. And so what we'll do, first step, is to sew the body up. Now my fabric is doubled up, but if yours is not, you'll want to make sure that you have the right side facing up. You'll fold the 2 halves together, and you'll sew here and here. All right, so I'm going to actually take this to the serger because I want to make it in the serger. So I'm going to serge along here, and I'm going to serge along here, and I'll be right back. So I actually used, interestingly enough, thread that matches this diaper really well, or this diaper cover really well, but I didn't do that on purpose. It was just left over. I mean, I had the machine already threaded with that color. So now it looks like a pair of underwear. And we're going to leave it wrong side out. And we're going to do the same thing on our cuffs. Okay, so we're going to sew the edge of our cuff on all of these. So basically, it's a long skinny piece. We're going to fold it so that the right sides are together and sew along this short edge. So I have to open each one of these up, make sure they are the right side, the side that I want to be visible in the end. Is that right? Yeah. Fold that in, make sure that they're touching each other, and then sew along the short edge. right sides together. We'll sew along there. So let me go sew all 3 of these and I'll be right back. Okay, I feel like I should mention that this pattern does not require a serger. I just happen to be using a serger because I like to serge things. So if you wanted to, this fabric is not going to unravel at all. So if you wanted to sew there with a standard sewing machine, you could do that. The next step is to fold this the other direction so that the right sides, sorry about moving the camera there, are facing out. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to make sure that that seam that you just sewed is to the inside of this fold. And fold it all the way up there. So do that on all 3 of these pieces. You'll take another piece, you'll fold it in on itself so that you're hiding that stitch that you just did. There's 2, and then do the same thing on the waistband. Hide that stitch. And now the side that you wanted visible is visible on the outside. The next step is to attach it to the diaper. So I am actually going to make sure that my seams are either all the way up, they're to the back, or they're to the front. I don't want my seams to be in the crotch. I'm certain that that's how the pattern wants you to do it, but I feel like theirs is a diaper cover, so it's covering a fitted or a flour sack towel or something, and so there's enough in the crotch already. Let's not even put any more seam in the crotch. So I'm going to move it to the back of this diaper and put it on like closer to the bum. So it's going to be there. Now what you'll do is put this fabric, this folded piece that you did, put it inside this hole. Put it inside that hole. And then you'll sew it like that. You'll sew it together. Now if you wanted to, you can go through here and pin it. So just make sure that all 3 layers are together. And you'll sew all the way around. In fact, I'm going to let you see me sew that. So let's move over to the sewing machine. Alright, we're here at the sewing machine. I just grabbed the pieces just like I said. That seam that I just created, I put it to the back. I'm going to make sure that I have all of my layers here. I'm just going to stick it in the machine just like this. Now, the fabrics that you're using, whether it be wool or fleece, are stretchy. They give a little bit. And so you'll want to make sure that you either stretch them the same or don't stretch them at all. Now, getting this much fluff into a serger is a little bit tricky. You'll want to make sure they are all lined up, or you'll miss one. You'll have to reserge it. The good thing about sergers is they're very forgiving, so you can just go over it again if you miss something. Get all these layers. Lift your foot. Get all those layers up in there. Lower that foot back down. Alright, the funny thing about sergers is that they tend to cut what you're working with. So do not either turn that blade off or don't get in its way. You want to sew all the way around all the layers. You want to get close enough to that blade so that it's almost cutting it. because a serging stitch is not really very wide. So you want to make sure you're pretty close to that blade. Cut this off. And so what you'll end up with when you turn it the other direction is all the seams hidden. And my seam they want you to put it in the crotch, but I don't like it in the crotch, so I put it in the back. So I'm actually going to do that on the waistband and on the other leg. So let's make sure it stays inside out. Cover this again. Put the cuff piece into the leg. Line up all of the edges. And go to town. Fleece is very forgiving. If it's not doing what you want, just give it a little tug. Try not to cut too much off. The goal of that blade is not to cut a bunch of fabric. The goal of that blade is to even up your lines. If you've got some fabric that's not lining up with the rest. So don't make it do a lot of work or you're going to ruin that blade over time. So you don't want it to have to cut very much off. Just keep lining up those edges. Cut that off, and you want to check to make sure that you've got all of the pieces. Turn it right side out and make sure that it's sewn real good all the way around. This looks good. All right, do the same around the waistband. It literally is just the same, only it's bigger. So got all the layers. This will be right side out. I'm going to put the seam to the back. Again, make sure it's all the fabric is lined up, all the layers. The seam to the back. I'm going to try to get it lined up across the back there, but I'm not too worried about it. It's a diaper cover. Try to get it lined up there. Make sure your fabric or the tail of your thread is out of the way. Get up in there and go to town. Keep all your layers straight. looks like my waistband is going to end up a little bit smaller than the than the body of the diaper. So I'm going to tug ever so slightly on the waistband part so that it stretches a little bit more than the rest of the diaper. You don't want to tug very much or you're going to end up breaking a needle. Now, if you didn't catch all of your fabric, we'll see if I did or not. You can always send it right back in to the serger a second time. Okay, so look, here's an example. I missed some of the fabric, and that's because I was stretching it pretty hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it back in and catch all those layers. Now what I'm doing is I'm actually using the blade to cut off that first stitch. And lay on another one. I'm going to go all the way around. Oh, I did it backwards. Check that out, guys. I put it on the wrong side of the diaper. Wonder if I can, I'm just going to cut it off. And sew it back on. Now where I'm going to cut it is on the body of the fabric. I'm only going to cut the body. And I'm going to leave the serging on the waistband for two reasons. One, it's going to help hold my waistband pieces together. So when I redo this, it's going to help hold it. And then the second reason is it will help prevent my waistband from getting too small. So let's turn this inside out like it's supposed to be. Insert the waistband so that it is at the back, like it's supposed to be. The seam is at the back. And try again. Now this time I have extra layers, lots of extra layers. Not only do I have the layers that I didn't unsew, but I also have the thread. And so my machine actually is probably going to have a little bit of a hard time sewing this way. But that's what you get when you sew it wrong. I might break a needle on this. I hope not, but you know. Not the end of the world. Just put another needle in. Now I might end up with my waistband being too bulky. I'm not sure yet. Because of the extra layers that are sewn in there now. We'll just have to see. What do you think, guys? I think it will definitely hold in some pee. And there you have it, a fleece diaper cover. It's not perfect, but it will work. Oh, here. Thanks for watching.